reality, and this is important, is that the way they're describing it is that it's more like a treatment than it is a vaccine. Now, if that's the case, then all of a sudden we should be allowed to come to the table and say, okay, we've been trying to talk about treatments that you guys have been covering up for quite some time, like vitamin D. A lot of people that die from COVID have vitamin D deficiencies. You guys can solve that by going to CVS or Walgreens rather cheaply, by the way. Azithromycin, a Z-Pak, super cheap. We talked about ivermectin, talking about hydroxychloroquine. We just helped a fellow pastor friend of mine, I'm not at liberty to say who yet, we are going to tell the story, someone that had some underlying health conditions. He said, Charlie, what do I do? I said, I'm going to get you to a monoclonal antibody treatment center. He had no idea that they even existed because every person in his friend network said, go to the hospital. And not every hospital has access to monoclonals, but there was a doctor. If you guys don't know what monoclonal antibodies is, that's okay. It's otherwise known as Regeneron, which is white blood cell treatment of people that previously had COVID, and it could help significantly. I could go through ozone therapy or just basic aspirin. Go tonight, go look at the Johns Hopkins study done on NIH.gov. It's published. It was totally covered up. Just type in aspirin, COVID-19 hospitalizations. Everyone here has been exposed to aspirin in one way or the other. It's a miracle drug. Now, like all things in life, if you take too much aspirin, you could bleed out. Okay, we all know that. But for some people, aspirin has been a miracle drug that has prevented blood clots and allowed you to go back to normal life, right? It's also incredibly cheap, right? I just want to say, aspirin is super cheap to make. I mean, cents on the dollar to make a pill of aspirin versus a vial of a vaccine. Study that shows that taking a dose of aspirin once you get the virus could lower your chance of being hospitalized between 40 to 60%. That's pretty significant. That's worth talking about. And I kid you not, look up then after that the date of the FDA and CDC coming out saying that aspirin, we need to rethink America's addiction to aspirin, that 30 million Americans, mostly seniors, use as a way to prevent blood clots. Like, that's an awfully suspicious time to come out with a war on aspirin. So what I'm just trying to do with this conversation, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your medical decisions. I never have. But I feel it's important because not everyone is actually in the weeds as much as I have on this stuff. And traveling the country, meeting lots of different people, seeing these things, I feel it's a moral imperative just to share with you what I'm seeing, and you guys can make the best decisions you see fit. And I have personally been able to help dozens of people that otherwise would have gone straight to a hospital be able to successfully navigate COVID with people with COPD, people in their late 80s, people that have underlying health conditions, people that are 500 to 600 pounds. And I'm not saying that I have all the answers by any means, but I am saying dwelling over this for hours a day, I think that sharing this with you guys so you have the information to be able to deal with this, information is important and the truth will set you free.